Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman Battle Network Operate Star Force. In the last parts, we started off the Waterworks network and now we're pretty deep into it. In fact, I think we finished this area off this part. I say I think because I genuinely do not remember. I have my enemy notes up for the part and it implies I do. But some of these enemy notes were also used in the last part, so who knows. Now, the important thing to note about the Waterworks in terms of progression is that at times, and this is more so towards the GBA version, because the map of the DS version makes it a lot easier to navigate in that regard. Sometimes this is very much a case like that one NPC brought up in the main internet areas, where the way forward is sometimes to actively take what seems like it's going to be the longer or backwards route. But we do have a new virus here. This is Spooky 2, 100 HP, 60 damage. And I believe this is the first one who will actively start using healing techniques on their allies when they're low enough on health. I want to say the allies have to be below half health for them to start considering doing that. Otherwise, they're the same spookies as ever. Whenever you get on the same row as them, they move to a different row. And their only attack is to teleport away and then teleport in front of you and try to lick you. With that said, Spooky 2s are noticeably in charge of 3 different chips. The Invis 2 chips, which they drop starting from rank 5. The Recuv 50 chips, which they start dropping from rank 7, and the Recuv 80 that they start dropping from rank 8. So in terms of getting every chip in the game, a lot of those you can find in mystery data later on in certain areas, but if you want to get them as early as you can, that might be the earliest you can get some of those, particularly the Recuv 80, I think. I think you get Recuv 50 somewhere else in the game by this point. But now it's time for a mini-boss against the Cold Bear 2 and Cold Bear 3 viruses. These are only fought here, I believe. Except, actually, no, I think there's one Cold Bear 3 later on. The Cold Bear 2 is the purple one with 250 HP and does 30 damage. The Cold Bear 3 is the one that has 300 health. Their only attack, get on the same row as you and shoot an ice cube at it. The ice cubes can stack up if there's enough of them, and that can limit your movement options. But aside from just being an HP wall, they're nothing to fear, and this being a set mini-boss, I should note, that always happens when you reach this part of the room at this part of the game. They don't drop any battleships, they only have Zenny. Only Cold Bear 1 has a battleship, and we'll see that when we eventually encounter that virus later down the road. It is interesting, though. Battle Network 1 is the only game that tries to have outright mini-boss viruses like this. Like, there's this, and there's one other variety later on that's more or less safe for mini-bosses, barring one variant of it. Barring, I guess, technically the Omega viruses in Battle Network 3, they generally kept mini-boss-esque fights to viruses you can find elsewhere in the surrounding areas. I think that was the virus causing the Waterworks bug. Pretty easy, huh? I'll send you a fire shot. Melt the ice on the pump water supply program. Roger. I guess that worked. Okay, I'm done here. Okay, let's go back to 10 and we'll see how the water is. And with that, we are forced out. So let's head on back to AC/DC Town and see how the water supply is doing there at this point in time. Personally speaking, I wish you just had to leave Scilab, but no, we have to go all the way back, I believe even to the school to see what we have to do here. Also, I should note, if you find the Metro line system a little clunky, they do eventually remove this in lieu of a proper world map system when you enter the Metro line, but that's not until Battle Network 4 they start doing that. And still, it's better than what they have you do in network transmission, at least. Land, we have to go check the water. Let's check out the school pond. And now, of all times, they decide to jump cut us. Thanks, game. That's decisively not healthy looking. Well, there's water, but it looks really nasty. Oh no, guy, don't. No. Water! Need water! Water must drink! Huh? That water's bad! Oh. And he's dead. Are you okay? Lan. Oh, you've done it now. Chad! People are drinking the polluted water everywhere. The real problem was in the water filtering program. This is all your fault. Just stay out of my way, okay? Lan, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. It's not your fault, Megaman. Let's go back. What? We can't give up now. Let's fix this problem for good. So how did Chad get our PET phone number, so to speak? I guess we were in the same area. He could have just jacked the contact info there and then, but still. Hard times get worse as people faint from lack of water. Remember, don't drink tainted water. Still, time to backtrack all the way back to the Waterworks. Great. My favorite. Or we get a phone call. Mail. Should I open it? Please. So, are you looking for the kid who was kidnapped? I heard the kid was last seen in AC/DC Town. If you look for him there, you might find him. I forgot to mention his last name is Freud. And it looks like World 3's involved, so good luck. Lan, she said Freud. That's the name of the guy at the Waterworks. That means World 3 took Freud's son and made him bug the water program. Things are starting to make sense. Yikes. She could have told me sooner. If we save his son, maybe Dr. Freud will stop the bug? Right, good idea. So when it comes to searching for Freud's son, there is an active hint to how to find him, because he's just in AC/DC Town, so there's only so much you have to check anyway, but if you want a direct hint, talk to Yai herself for another one that seems unrelated, but is completely related to what's going on. With that said, it's probably a relatively easy place to guess. My family has about 10 cars. Want to hear the rest? Sure. One of them was stolen recently. We just bought another one to replace it, though. A car, huh? Where have we seen one of those seemingly out of nowhere in the world map recently? Oh, wait a minute. Hey, kid. Ow. Oh, you're that land fellow. You Freud? Are you okay? Thanks. We gotta stop my dad from helping World 3. We were right. Got it. Leave it to me. This is a program my dad uses at work. It might help. And we get a handle program. Thanks. Tell my dad I'm fine, okay? Sure. Roger. Lan, let's go. So that handle program is the major thing you need here, because you might remember back in, I believe it was Waterworks 2, there was a valve we found without a handle attached. We need to come back here for that. Now, Freud's son is a little bit of an interesting case of a character because he's the only one that was completely changed for the anime. He got a unique design and was named Torian, and he even got the net nav we're going to fight later on. The handle's missing. Lan, I bet we can use the handle we got from Freud. Hey, yeah. Make sure to remember to investigate it, because I have forgotten to do that and had to waste 20 seconds walking back up here more times than I'd like to admit. Now, the Waterworks are always a little bit weird to me. Although there's a recover radius, so you don't even need to get it from the spooky. Because it's the rare area you leave completely in the middle of in the franchise, or in the series rather. Because most of the time, whenever there's a multi-part computer that takes place in separate computers, I'm thinking of one particular one in Battle Network 2 in particular, it's only like 5 steps away from the last actual computer. This is the only time they actively make you leave to go do something else to that extreme in the series, really. Barring, technically, some of Battle Network 4. But Battle Network 4 is structured radically differently from the main games anyway, due to the tournament stuff that we'll get to when we eventually get to that replay. By and large, though, once you've gotten to this portion of the Waterworks, the ice slide puzzles get more intense, yes, but I find the area layouts themselves lend themselves to a more easy-to-figure-out direction. Barring one instance that was clarified here in Operate Star Force. In BN1, there were some minor visual differences coming up that made it a little harder to tell what to do. Battle Network 1's also very good about giving you a lot of the battleships you can get in a given area just through blue mystery data. Well, I guess just mystery data, period. Follow through the correct hole to get to the faucet. If you melt the ice with water, you can walk on the area you melted. From the melted area, you can fall into another hole to reach another faucet. Melt the ice again to create a new path. Then you can get to the brown path on the right. Alright, so what they're talking about here is you need to figure out a way to fall down into the various holes around here and find the right hole that leads to the right valve. With that said, once you find the first one, it's pretty easy to figure out because you'll start clearing out more and more of the ice in a way that you can manipulate your path much more easily. Apparently, this was one of the more infamous sections of the original game just because some people had trouble figuring it out when they were kids. Comparatively, not so much me. My big problem in this game, when I first played it, is a later area that's much more infamous. But we'll get to that when we cross that threshold. Now, I should note, something I've always found funny about Capcom games in the Game Boy Advance is reused sound effects. The sound effects for a lot of the ice here, and even some of the, like, ice area type instruments they use in the music here, are very similar to the ones that Capcom's company Flagship would use in the Zelda games they made. Particularly, I'm talking about Minish Cap due to the ice dungeon in that game. But it's always just funny to me hearing a development team make the same... to hear similar tools used by similar teams, so to speak. With that said, Waterworks 6 is the final of the computers for this area, and it's arguably the most straightforward since the first one. Because the only real thing you have to go out of your way to do is move around that giant block of, like, I think, was that 4x4 tiles of ice, and come up here to turn on this faucet, and by then I think you're at the end of the area. We do have a new virus here, though. These are Swordy 3s. 200 HP, their attacks can do 80, 80, or 30 damage, depending on the type of sword attack they're using. And they are Aqua Elemental. Not that that matters much at this point in the game, aside from you potentially using a Lex Sword on them, because the only way that Aqua would do extra damage to you, so to speak, in BN1 Original is an armor we don't have yet in the game. They do drop a completely new battle chip, though, similarly to how Swordy 2s dropped Fire Sword. These can drop Aqua Sword at rank 7 or above. Notably, though, its coding is kind of bad. I think it only comes in P and N codes, which, little limiting. I could maybe think of some uses for the N code, because that can code well some of the later canon variants, I think, and a couple of the other chips, but Aqua Sword isn't the sword you're going to be using, I find. At least not in this game. Later Battle Networks, less so the case. Because I honestly feel between some damage buffs and coding changes, certain chips that are kind of not useful in one game become completely super important to a lot of builds in later ones. With that said, save, because we're coming up on the boss fight. You're late. It's all over. Hey, I told you not to interfere. What? I have to protect my son. That's right. Iceman still has work to do. Oh yeah? Well, how about a taste of this? Wait! These two aren't the real enemy! How can you say that? After so many people have suffered because of them. Sean, you have mail from HQ. Proto-Man, it looks like we've been had. They're a decoy. There's a World 3 A-rank operator somewhere. World 3's after the Aqua program here. Aqua program? Isn't that one of those super programs? The World 3 Navi must be here somewhere. Let's find them. As you say, Chad. Wait! Now that he's gone, will you please listen to me? Silence! Yeah, if we break World 3's orders, my son. Lan? He's not listening. We have no choice. Battle routine set. Execute. Alright, time for Iceman, who is Aqua Elemental, as his name would suggest, so if you have a Lex Sword here, you're gonna do a lot of damage early on, especially because one of his first actions is always to come to your front row and place blocks down, essentially creating a wall that he can then push into you for extra damage. Otherwise, his attacks, I believe he can throw some ice directly forward, although that might be network transmission I'm directly thinking of. He can throw a bomb that will cause a glacier pattern to erupt in a plus pattern, and that can create another status ailment on you, Freeze, which you just have to kind of rock the D-pad back and forth until you break free, or take another hit, I think. It's, admittedly, it's a very straightforward fight. If you have any Navi chips, I would really recommend having Fireman, because him going to your front row to create the blocks makes him very easy to predict where he's going to go. just make sure that in the case that you're trying to take him out quickly, especially in the B2 and 3 fights later on, that you might want to take the extra hit just by standing in the front row to do some extra damage to him. But that said, as you can see, not much of a problem. I'm sorry, Dr. Freud. There was nothing we could do. Now my son. No! Iceman, read this! What? Dr. Freud, this mail. Huh? This mail address is my son's. Well, your son is safe. Do you get it now? Yes, but after all I've done. We have to get the net back up and running. You're right, kid. Iceman. Yes, sir. That should fix the Den City Waterworks. Huh? Good job finding me! You're better than the rest. Put down that aqua program, or else. Now, we don't have time to play with you now. But you'll face me, Color Man, soon enough. Let's go. Okay, Miss Mad. Later. It's that Navi from before. You nosy scoundrels again. John! Who do you think you are talking to an official like that? Never mind that. Why were they after the Aqua program? Find out for yourself. Proto Man, we're out of here. Sir. We used that program to make good tasting water. But somehow I don't think that's why World 3 wants it. Lan? I don't get it. Pull out, let's go see Freud. Roger. Really, I don't know how to thank you. I'll do my best to keep the water clean from now on. Dad, family. Yeah, you're right. Huh? I was expecting the usual sarcasm. You homesick, Lan? Me? Never. Okay. Time's tight now, Lan. This World 3 plot's getting deeper and darker. Yeah, and we have to show that Chod what we can do. That's the spirit. And so, Lan and Megaman solved one mystery. But World 3 was getting closer to total control of the net. And why was World 3 collecting the super programs? It was up to them to stop World 3 and bring peace to the net. All our plots in Den City are failing recently. We're having some funding problems, too. This will slow down the entire World 3 plot to control the net. What exactly is the problem? Apologies, Lord Wiley. It's just... What? Speak up! There is just this one Navi operator team. An official net battler, huh? No, it's just a boy by the name of Lan, but... He's got this powerful Navi Megaman.Exe. What are you saying? Our World 3 Navis can handle anything. No more excuses. Yes, but... Silence, I said. Silence! No more failures. Delete all that stand in your way. Yes, sir. I have a plan. Leave it to me. Then get to it! We await your favorable report. I'm off. Why? Must we get every super program by ourselves? We might not have gotten wood, but fire and aqua. You're right. But we mustn't speak of the light virus. It's so top secret, we're not supposed to know about it. I know. Well, back to work. Lan. I wonder. Interesting. And finally, the villain properly shows up. I think that's the first time he's shown up. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. And in part 10, hopefully Lan and Megaman finally have a day off. See you guys then.